standings for Sprint Cup as follows. First place is Chevrolet with 500 points. Second place is Ford with 456, 44 points back. And third place is Toyota with 423 points, 77 points back. This is the Racing Podcast. Now for the Xfinity Series driver standings, top 10 as follows. First place is Chris Buescher in the number 60 car with 368 points, current leader. Third place is Chase Elliott in the number 9 car, 337 points and 31 points. Second place is Ty Dillon in the number 3 car, 360 points, 8 points back. Third place, Chase Elliott in the number 9 car, 337 points, 31 points back. Fourth place, Darrell Wallace Jr. in the number 6 car, 331 points, 37 points back. Fifth place, Brian Scott in the number 2 car, 326 points, 42 points back. Sixth place, Regan Smith in the number 7 car, 320 points, 48 points back. Seventh place, Elliott Sadler in the number 1 car, 317 points and 51 points back. Eighth place, Ryan Reed in the 16 car, 288 points and 80 points back. Ninth place, Brendan Gowen in the 62 car, and 283 points, 85 points back. And then 10th place, Daniel Suarez in the 18 car with 281 points, 87 points back. From 11th through 15th place in order. Jeremy Clements with 262 points. David Starr with 257. J.J. Yeley with 224. Russ Chastain with 223. Landon Castle with 220. From 16th through 20th place in order. Dakota Armstrong with 217 points, Ryan Siege with 207, Blake Koch 196, Cale Conley with 191, and Joey Gase with 176. 21st to 25th place in order. Brennan Poole with 171 points, Eric McClure 164, Mike Bliss with 141, Aaron Rhodes with 137, and Jeffrey Earnhardt with 118. Manufacturer standings for Xfinity Series as follows. First place is Ford with 448 points. Second place is Chevrolet with 436 points, 12 points back. Third place is Toyota with 421 points, 27 points back. And fourth place is Dodge with 126 points, 322 points back. Racing Podcast now for Camping World Truck Series driver standings, top 10 as follows. First place, Matt Crafton in the 88 truck, 217 points, current leader. Second place, Eric Jones in the number 4 truck, 201 points, 16 points back. Third place is Tyler Reddick in the 19 truck, 199 points and 18 points back. Fourth place, Johnny Sauda in the 98 truck, 182 points, 35 points back. Fifth place, John West Helmley in the 05 truck, 160 points, 57 points back. Sixth place, Timothy Peters in the 17 truck, 158 points, 59 points back. Seventh place, Cameron Haley in the number 13 truck, 153 points, 64 points back. Eighth place, Justin Boston in the 54 truck, 149 points, 68 points back. Ninth place, Spencer Gallagher in the 23 truck, 145 points and 72 points back. And in 10th place, Daniel Hemrick in the 14 truck, 136 points, 81 points back. From 11th to 15th place in order. Ray Black Jr. with 134. Ben Kennedy with 129, Tyler Young with 125, Corbin Forrester at 114, Jennifer Jo Cobb with 114. 16th through 20th place in order. Matt Tifft with 111 points, James Buescher with 100, Mason Mingus with 92, Joe Nemechek with 91, Norm Benning with 91. From 21st to 25th place in order. Travis Kvapil with 76 points. Brendan Jones with Brendan Jones in the 22nd. There's a mix-up with his points though. But at 23rd is Brian Sealis, 70, and Caleb Holman is in 24th. Jordan Anderson in 25th. Now, the manufacturer standing for Camping World Truck's not available because I think there was a mix-up, and I went to my source, which is NASCAR, And they have Toyota in first place, but then they got Chevrolet listed twice, second and third. So was Ford supposed to be in second place, Chevy in third, or Chevy in second, Ford in third? So they actually have Chevy listed twice: Toyota, Chevy, Ram, and no Ford. So I wonder if there was a mix-up with that. So we're gonna have to skip the manufacturer standings for Camping World Trucks, but hopefully next week they'll have that straightened out. All right, this is the Racing Podcast. Quick break. Then we'll start the final stretch segment. Got a little racing news. The names for the NASCAR Hall of Fame for 2016. The announcements were made last night, so we'll go over that a little bit. Go over some little factoids from NASCAR. And we'll go over the edible delights at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And, of course, recap the schedule one more time for you. So the Racing Podcast final stretch segment continues after this. Welcome back, everybody, to the Racing Podcast. Presented by American Podcasting, available at apodradio.com. Also available at Spreaker.com, #sports. So the NASCAR Hall of Fame 2016 announcements was made on Wednesday, just past, the 20th of May. Jerry Cook, Bob Isaac, Terry Labonte, Bruton Smith, and Chris Turner. Jerry Cook, named one of NASCAR's 50 greatest drivers in 1998. Bobby Isaac, also named one of NASCAR's 50 greatest drivers in 1998. Terry Labonte, also named 50 greatest, 1998. Also winner of the 1998 and 1999 The Winston, as we mentioned, now known as the Sprint Cup race, or the Sprint All-Star race. And Terry Labonte suffered the longest time between Cup wins, 12 years. Burton Smith, racing promoter and track owner. And Curtis Turner, Southern 500 winner in 1956. 38 NASCAR convertible division wins, most wins in a season for convertibles with 22 in 1956, and the most poles in the convertible division with 23 poles, and the most in a single season with 16, 1956. And the recipient of the Landmark Award, Harold Brasington, of course, famous for the building of Darlington International Raceway, which was built on farmland. And the owner of the farmland said, you cannot, there's a pond, and the owner of the farm said, you can build the track, but you can't disturb the pond. And that is why Darlington has its egg shape. The Southern 500 at Darlington was the first race at Darlington, but also the first NASCAR Cup race to be raced on pavement. Darlington, since 1950, has earned a lot of nicknames, but the popular one, Too Tough to Tame. Darlington was built on a farm in Darlington, South Carolina, and the closest big city to Darlington, Columbia, South Carolina, which is 75 miles away. Interesting. So, some racing news. Okay, now Casey Kane. Good. I want to talk about this because it was Casey Kane. And if you saw this race on Friday, boy, you know, good thing I was in front of the TV at the right time, because this win on Friday was absolutely crazy. Talk about a photo finish. you had two trucks coming across that finish line so close to one another. So it was Kasey Kahne, okay, and Erik Jones. Kasey Kahne comes in first. Erik Jones comes in second. And at first glance, it looked like both trucks crossed the line at the same time. And it was like that. In fact, Kasey Kahne beat Erik Jones with a .005 second lead. So there you go. And that's why you don't want to miss any races, because you don't want to miss any big finishes, right? Okay. And I missed a big win at Texas. Good thing I saw it on YouTube, because I would have never known. And my goodness. And I would have done a disservice for the racing podcast as well, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I think. So, 0-0, Kasey Kahne, winner of the North Carolina Education Lottery 200 last Friday, was actually penalized with a P2 penalty due to height infraction. The violation was discovered by officials at the end of last Friday's truck event. Kasey Kahne and Erik Jones crossed the finish line, which almost looked like at the same time. And again, Kasey Kahne beating Erik Jones with a .005 second lead over Erik Jones in the number 4 Toyota. Kasey Kahne in the 00 truck. But this was the first win for JRM truck teams, okay, for the JRM truck team, and which of course is co-owned by Dale Jr. Now, upon inspection, it was discovered that the right rear corner was a little too high. Crew chief Joe Shear Jr. fined $6,000 and placed on NASCAR probation through December 31st. Ouch. And JMT, another ouch, is deducted 10 points in owner standings. Now, the 48 car, Jimmie Johnson, at the Sprint Cup race, almost got popped with a penalty. The 48, Jimmie Johnson, almost got penalized for what officials thought was a suspected infraction. Officials suspected that the 48 crew, Hendrick 48, had made an unapproved adjustment to the body panel during a pit stop during Saturday's All-Star race. Sheet metal in front of the rear tires for improving airflow. I don't know if it's the official word, but it's tugging, right? Where they bend the metal right at the bottom of the car there, the beginning of the wheel well, and it's to help with aerodynamics. Now, last year they went crazy with it, but this year NASCAR is laying down the law to make sure that no one's doing it. So that is, again, the bending of the metal. You put a little bend in the metal, right at the front bottom of the wheel well, okay, tugging, and it turns out that officials had determined that the unapproved practice was not done after all, so therefore the 48 team will not be penalized. The practice of tugging became growingly popular at the end of the 2014 season. Steve O'Donnell, NASCAR Executive Vice President and Chief Racing Development Officer, announced back in January that officials will be policing the use of 45 cameras, which is part of the new pit road officiating system. So, don't be tugging, okay? So what about some NASCAR factoids, if we will, to have a little fun? The first Daytona 500 held on the 22nd of February, 1959, but was not the first race of NASCAR, actually. The first racetrack was Darlington, and Darlington was the jewel, and still is, but Darlington is where it all started, and a few years later, Daytona 500. And of course, the beach races, when they used to race on the beach, I've been telling you, I've been reading this book, 100 things that NASCAR fans should see or do before they die, when they used to race on the beach. So, and how it worked out, you had the beach, and then parallel to the beach, you have Florida A1A. And you had, how it worked was that it would be half on the beach, half on the roadway. So you go up to the beach, go along the beach, you go around the north turn, and the north turn would bring you onto A1A. Then you come down A1A to the south turn, go around the south bend, and you're back on the beach. And that is the famous beach race, as they call it. Well, not the official name. And they had issues because the tide. They could only race when the tide was low because you didn't want cars getting washed over.